It's that time of the week again. Round 4 of Super Rugby Fantasy is coming your way. And I tell you what, guys, I tell you something fantastic. I've got some brilliant news. You're all welcome to my world because there's no Damien McKenzie this week. That's right, you guys have to all suffer the same fate as me and picking someone else to play as your fly half. Ha, 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 ha. That's great news. Isn't that just great news? No? Just me? Well, I'm bloody happy, so I don't give a stuff what anyone else thinks. No D-Mag, shove it up your nose. It's going to be a great weekend of Super Rugby. What is going on, team? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back along to the channel, and another week of Super Rugby Fantasy is almost upon us. And man, I tell you what, I've done a few minutes of laughing about the fact that there's going to be no Damien McKenzie running around the park, running sideways, running backwards, running upside down, skidding himself on his head like just a silly dog or anything dumb like that. No, there's no stupid antics anymore. He's gone. He's out, hopefully for a long time. But today we get to celebrate because we get to pick, and you all have to pick someone else as well. Oh, it's a great day. So let's dig into it, shall we, and take a look at fantasy for round number 4. But before we do that, let's just have a little recap of round number 3, because I don't know about you, I think I had a decent sort of weekend. I'll take a look at where we finished after the round in a second, but this is the team I went with last week. There was some good, there was some bad, there was some missed opportunities. We could have done things better. Xavier Numere let me down in a big way. Pearce and Riccatelli held down the fort. Frost did all right. Nasila Sila, disappointing after a really good round 2. The back 3, outstanding. I captained the wrong one. If I'd captained Tizano or Salvia, I would have been right. But no, I had to captain McWright, who only ended up getting 21 points out of the 3 of them. Very good performance to shut him down over the weekend as well. Into the backs, Roygaard was... well, it was average. Liner went off injured after half of the game, and as you can see, he's not even starting this weekend. Josh Fluke, oh, he was phenomenal. I told you last week he couldn't get any worse than he was in round 2, and he couldn't do that badly twice. Well, he did, and he was amazing. He scored a couple of tries. I was like, oh, Flukey, this is why I grabbed you in my team. Then he got injured. So that kind of ruined the party for me a little bit, but he still knocked up a tidy 62 points. Quinton Tapia was again phenomenal. And then my back 3, well, probably the worst game of, at that point, the leading point scorer in the town, Mufalau, only picked up 18. Tom Wright was all right. Tangi Tau was really good, picked up 40 for the Highlanders. Overall picked up 580 points, which, you know, I'm not complaining too much about. But we've made changes heading into round 4. But let's check out the tables at the end of round 3 before we look forward into this weekend's action. So 580 points, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. Down at 13th, which is like, oh, it's not that good. But, you know, I picked the wrong captain. I haven't used any boosters yet. And to be fair, you know, literally 20 points more and I would have been up inside that top 10. So a pretty good week. I'm not too upset about it. Winging a prayer. Well done to you, sir, picking up number 1 spot. And Paul, you scumbag. Yes, Paul from NZ Sport Radio picked up 2nd spot with a really good weekend from him, and Nutcracker grabbing in 3rd. Gotta give a shout out to the man that launched all this little league as well. Mighty picking up 4th position is very nicely done. And Smiley, might as well go top 5A and go from there. So with those points in the bank and some performers from earlier on now starting to struggle, and we've got a resurgence of players who struggled early, how do we look overall? Let's take a little look at that. So I've had to make the window just a little bit bigger for this one because, well, you can see what's happening down at the bottom. But Wing and a Prayer, having a really good last couple of rounds, has picked up that number 1 spot. So well done to you, Wing and a Prayer. Nate 22 consistently up there as well. Started off very well, hasn't dropped too much, not in those top places, but still sitting 2nd overall. And Chicka Wop is sitting in 3rd. Who? Don't know, but it's a cool name. Wolfgamer John in 4th, and Jaffa Juggernauts, remember him? A leader from earlier on, still holding on to a top 5 spot. Unfortunately, we're down at 20th, but still, well within striking distance, just a couple of 100 points behind. You know how these games go. It only takes one big round and you can either fall in the river or you can propel yourself straight up that leaderboard. So this weekend is a little bit weird with the fixtures. They've actually decided Super Rugby's gone, poof, here's a great idea. Let's play a game of rugby on a Sunday. God damn, no, Jim, don't do that. Why, that's a great idea. Why did we do this 16 years ago? I don't know. They're dumbasses, that's why. But we've got a game on Sunday. And as always, I've overcommitted like I did last weekend with the last game of the round. I've done it again in this game, but we'll look at that in just a second. Only the one game on Friday night. Blues v Brumbies. That one is a home game for the Blues. A really good one to start off the weekend too. I think the Blues will be too good for that one. The Drua back at home, back where they've never lost, and they're taking on a team that's never lost this season. The Chiefs, you guessed it, with no Mackenzie. Let's go, Drua. Let's stick it straight in the fist and punch them in the face. That's what I want to see from the Drua this weekend. Moana's at home. They're hosting the Hurricanes, who have been, well, a little bit average this weekend, but I'll still pick the Canes to do the job. Waratahs v Force, that's the last game on Saturday night. Should be a goodie as well. Can the Force continue their form, keeping in matches? They are on the road down to New South Wales. I think the Waratahs might have enough for that one. And then finally, it's the Red team versus the Reds. Crusaders v the Reds. Bit of a history between these two teams here. I like the way the Crusaders are going. Look, the Reds have got way too many injuries, as I'm sure we'll see, the likes of Liner, Fluke, especially teams working out how to handle McBride, even though I've not lost my faith in him. I feel like that's going to be a good game for points, and I've overcommitted in that match as well, which we'll have a look at in just a second. Result-wise, home team Crusaders to pick up the dub there as well. Okay, chaps, let's dig in. Here is my 15 for this weekend's action, starting things off with the large lads in the front row, number 1, 2, and 3. I've just changed one. We're keeping Pierce, we're keeping Mr. Consistent Itali, well, Ricky Riccatelli, and of course we're bringing in Angus Bell, who I probably should have brought in last weekend, because I wanted to replace Numia, but I just couldn't find someone who really excited me about front row rugby. I still can't find them either, but we've got Angus Bell just in case. So Bell's back in the lineup as well. We had him earlier, back for the Waratahs. They're playing the Force. I think this is a game where we're going to see, I think, of Australian rugby, the best front rows really, especially the way that the Force have been going with their pack as well. So Pierce, Riccatelli and Bell in my front three. Moving into the second row, we've kept Nick Frost in there from the Brumbies. They're up against the Blues. And then we've brought in Cullen Grace. Now, I've talked a lot about Cullen Grace over the last few weeks, listed as a lock, starting as a back rower, right? So this is a guy who can do essentially what a back row is going to do for points for your team. So imagine this, you're only playing one lock, and you've 4 guys that are playing in the back row where you're going to get a lot more tackles, you're going to get a lot more potential turnovers. They should be in open play a lot more as well. And of course, they'll still contribute to the line out. So Cullen Grace is a bit of a dark horse for me to pick up a few tasty little points in a good match I think the Crusaders should have this weekend. To the back row, no change, except for my captain. I've moved it off McBride, so expect him to have a stormer, and moved it to Tizano. I should go maybe to Savia, but instead I've gone to Tizano. Please don't let me down, Carlo. Please don't let me down. Savia stays, McBride stays. I think all 3 of these guys are mainstays, along with the likes of Riccatelli in that pack. Now, into the back line, we've changed a number of things, let's be honest. Because my boy, Tommy Liner, well, he's gone and got himself a bit hurt, hasn't he? He starts on the bench for the Reds, but I want a starter. And I want a man that plays 85 minutes. There's only one man that fills that bill. His name is Ben of the Donaldson variety. That's right, we've finally taken the plunge to go with Benny Boy Donaldson and my number 10 jumper. There's a lot of names here you could pick out. Harry Godfrey is one I'd really love to put in my team, but as a back 3 playing a 10, it's not really fitting in for you getting maximum amount of points, but that guy is incredible. When it comes to 10, Ben Donaldson has had a fantastic opening 3 rounds. Expect that to end this weekend because I've picked him in my fantasy team, and that is just how things go. But Ben Donaldson will run my show, and with Tate McDermott. In the midfield, I can't drop Quinton Pye. You know, I'm stupid and dumb, I know that much, but I'm not that stupid and dumb. I've partnered up with a guy who I really dislike having in my team, but he's just a guy that scored points quite well without playing very well at all, and that is David Harvey. He kicks well, he controls the game well, he's got leadership, especially at this level. Don't talk to me about him at international level, but I feel like he just accumulates points nicely. Harvey in there alongside Tupaia, no fluke. It's just a lot of midfield injuries and a lot of midfield players not performing at their best. Rieko Ioane, to mention just one of a number. Into the back three, though, this is where it gets exciting. Made a few changes here, of course. No Tungi Tau, he's out well, not out injured, he's out on the bye with the Highlanders, I should say. So we chopped him. We have chopped Tom Wright as well from the Brumbies, because guess who's back? No, it's not Slim Shady, it's Ruben Love. Ruben Love is back. And he's straight back into my team as well, because why the heck not? They're playing Moana Pacifica. I think they're going to be tested. The Hurricanes have been really poor, but it's great to see some of these players coming back. Ruben Love is a man I love Ruben Love. What can I say? He's a phenomenal talent, and I just hope he has another incredible season. The likes of Roygaard starting on the bench, which is why we've had to drop him out of our team as well. We're going with starters here. The Hurricanes have gone a bit weaker with their lineup, so maybe this is a chance for Moana to get a little bit of a kick in the balls and say, do not take us lightly, but let's see if Ruben Love can do the job for the Canes. We also kept Mufalau. Look, he had a bad game. He was a leading point scorer after 2 rounds. I want him to come back and take that mantle and put that crown firmly back on his head. And Sevu Reece, Mr. Super Rugby. I mean, what else do I need to say about that? Crusaders, I got 3 of them. Reds, I got 2 of them. What else we got? A couple of 4s, just a couple of 1 Waratah, 1 Brumby. Interesting. Just the 1 blue as well. So we've got a nice little spread. I think almost just about, you'd say, Australians and New Zealanders are pretty much halfway on that as well. If you give a little tally up, let me think for a second here. Yeah, so it's a bit confusing, isn't it? I've got 7 Australians, I've got 7 New Zealanders, and I've got Talmufalau. So, there you go. You couldn't 50-50 that cake anymore if you tried to. But that is my team for round 4 of Super Rugby Pacific Fantasy. What's your team like? Who are you in our leaderboard if you're not in our league? Look, just give yourself a slap. Put yourself in the corner for 5 minutes to think about what you've not done. And then join the damn league. It's in the description. Click the button, go join. Join the Discord as well. Have some banter. Abuse everyone and tell them you're number 1. Then you get your ass kicked in the weekend, like I do every single week. It's fun, you know, you'll enjoy it. It's all about being a human and expressing your ability to be shit at something. That's what we do every single week. That's me for today, though, team. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as per always, and I'll see you next weekend for round 5. Until then, have a great weekend watching Super Rugby. And of course, we've got Six Nations action back this weekend as well. So enjoy that if you're in the north, or if you like getting up at stupid o'clock like me. I'll see you next time. Take care. Have a great weekend.